till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
How's it going, my car dudes? Liam here from the Car Dudes channel, and a couple of weeks ago I put out the Goodbye Toyota Prado video, and I'm sure you guys have been dying to see what its replacement is. Well, here it is. It is a 2019 Ford Ranger Raptor, my family's first pickup truck. So as always, I'm going to give you guys a full and in-depth review of the Ranger Raptor. I'll show you guys the interior and the exterior of this beautiful truck. So as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So starting off with the bed. It's a bed. It's a truck, Liam. It doesn't have a trunk. It's called a bed. This does have an aftermarket bed cover thingamajig on it, so you do have a separate key for that. It is somewhat broken, but as you can see, it's not closing properly, so we do need to get that fixed. But once it works, it works. You can see I have my jumper cables and snatch rope in here. It's a pretty decent sized bed. You can definitely fit a lot of things, and obviously this folds down as well with it. Obviously one thing to get used to with a truck, having to reach in, it's kind of hard to reach, so sometimes I would have to get up onto this to reach any luggage or whatever is in there. But for the bed cover, at least we have this handy dandy strap thing, so that's cool. Also at the back, might as well show off these beautiful big heavy duty tow hooks, so you can definitely pull out some cars that get stuck, no problem. Coming to the back seat of the Ranger Raptor, soft padded door panels, leather stitched, storage in the door with cup holders. It is quite a high step-in height. So it would have been nice if Ford could have had some grab handles maybe, but if you're tall like myself, it's really not that big of a problem. And stepping into the back, this seat is put in a position that I would be comfortable in. I'm 6'3". I've got a decent amount of knee room. My shins are touching the base of the seat, but I can tuck my feet underneath the seat, which is not a problem. Over here we have a household plug point, which is really nice because when I went to the drag races I was able to charge my laptop, and a power outlet over here. We have a storage seat in the seat backs. I keep my recovery shackles in there. We also have a center armrest with cup holders, very plush. In terms of headroom, it's not too bad. Decent amount of headroom, this much when I'm 6'3", and shoulder room isn't too bad either. Trying out the middle seat, there is a tiny little hump. There's also a packet of M&Ms. There's a tiny little hump in the center here. It's not too bad, but it is there. The center seat is a bit firmer than the seats on the side, so it's not the most comfortable, but for short distances it's doable. Headroom is also, it's pretty good. It's not too bad, and the footwells are fairly wide, so you wouldn't really fight with the outer passengers. Here's the key fob for the Ranger Raptor. It's Ford's newest style key fob, and for some reason it looks so familiar. I don't know what it looks like, but it just looks so familiar to this one key from this one other car brand. Maybe it's just my imagination. Anyways, so we have our unlock and our lock. This does also have smart key access, so as long as you have the key fob on you, just make sure your key fob is in your pocket maybe. Now the car is unlocked. To lock it, just touch the little ridge or divot in any other driver or passenger side door handle. The car will lock, and to unlock it, just grab the back of the door handle. Simple as that. Has a bright red exterior, very vibrant color, and features a full black leather and suede interior. Has these gray inserts with blue stitching, suede inserts also on the seat, and Raptor embroidered on the seat back. You do have to admit, for a pickup truck, the interior is fairly upscale. It's not as agricultural as you might expect it to be. Along with the smart key access, the Ranger Raptor does have push button start. So, just make sure you have your foot on the brake, press the left mounted start button to go. Fires up, no problem. We'll give her a slight rev. Not a bad sounding diesel. This does have Ford's 10-speed automatic transmission with manual shiftability via the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. We have a backup camera with guidance lines. If you press the plus, you get a lower angle, which is useful for loading up trailers and so on. Parking brake. Over here is your 4-wheel drive transfer case. So right now it's in 2 high, 4 high, and to go into 4 low, you put it into neutral. And 4 low. I'll explain more in depth of the different driving modes later on in the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn on the automatic headlamps, the front fog lights, the high beams, as well as the hazards. Pop the hood, automatic driver's side window, and we'll go ahead and check out the exterior. The Ranger Raptor has Ford's new 2-liter bi-turbocharged diesel engine producing 213 brake horsepower and 370 foot-pounds of torque, has a 0 to 100 time of 10.5 seconds and a top speed of 170 kilometers per hour. The Ford Ranger Raptor is the perfect unconventional midlife crisis car, especially in the case of Richard Hammond. See, when my dad had a midlife crisis, he did what any other midlifer would do. He bought a sports car to look youthful. But the Ranger Raptor is different. It's this cool sports truck that can fly down dirt roads doing a $120, climb rocks, and ford every stream. I'm so not funny. But that being said, it's also a brilliant family car. It can haul the entire family across the country and back in comfort, do the school run, and have enough space to drop that hideous carpet off at your mother-in-law's house. Really, the only thing it's missing is a third row of seats, but that's why you would buy an Everest Limited instead. Speaking of the Everest, this generation Ranger and Everest are heavily related underneath. In October 2018, Ford confirmed that the Ranger Raptor won't be going to the US because it is designed for places where the F-150 Raptor is unavailable. The Ranger Raptor is built in Thailand and sold across many countries in Asia, Europe, also in South Africa and Australia. In Sri Lanka, you can pick one up for around 13 to 14 million rupees, or even less if you buy it with a permit. So how does it compare to the Prado we traded? Well, I look at it from two views: how much I love the car and how good the car is. The Prado had a lot of sentimental value to me, which is why I was so reluctant to have it sold. But even so, as a car overall, the Prado is a brilliant family cruiser. The Ranger Raptor, on the other hand, is kind of like a dad from the suburbs trying to act all country so that his kids think he's cool because he drives a Raptor. But the Ranger Raptor is also a brilliant car overall. As a family car, I'd say the Prado has an edge because of its third row seat and also the fact that it has probably 70% of the off-road capabilities of this Raptor, making it better value for money. The looks of the Ranger Raptor are menacing to say the least. This giant grille riding so high with aggressive blacked out trim. If you see this in your rearview mirror, you do two things. One, put your foot hard down and pray to God it doesn't run over you. Or two, just move out of the way. The Raptor does have its own unique look compared to the normal Ranger. You can tell it's a Ranger Raptor even if it's from far away. The Ranger Raptor rides on BF Goodrich KO2 tires as standard with a rim size of 285, 70 or 17-inch rims. Coming to the interior, power windows, locks and mirrors. It's a full power driver's seat, the power lumbar adjustment on this side over here. Coming down here, you have your hood release, accelerator and brake, light controls, sister control the bed light, and panel dim. You can adjust the steering wheel through here, reach and height, and our power mirror controls over here. Stepping into the interior of the Ranger Raptor, like I said earlier in the video, for a pickup truck, or a bucky as South Africans would call it, or ute as any Australian would call it, the interior is definitely not as utilitarian or agricultural as you would expect it to be. It's definitely somewhat upscale in here. So coming down here we have your AC controls, which is definitely useful on a day that is like today where it's 4 quadrillion billion degrees. Really nice. Dual zone climate control, central fan speed, individual temperatures for the driver and passenger, power, max AC, for circulation. To change our different zones, we actually have to physically go into the climate tab. Somewhat Lexus style actually, so you can choose your different zones right there. And your fan speed right here. Coming to the stereo of the Ranger Raptor, this does have Ford's premium audio system done by Sony, which absolutely rocks in my opinion. So as you can see, here we have our different audio sources. So right now we're in the audio tab. We click on sources, we have AM, FM, CD, and Bluetooth audio. And if you are connected to USB, another tab will pop up saying USB or Apple CarPlay. In my case, it's Bluetooth audio. You have to admit, for a system that has only about 6 speakers total, it definitely does sound pretty darn good. Like I said, definitely packs a punch. Camera does not do justice, obviously, but Oh, this stereo is really, really good. So coming to the infotainment system, this is Ford's Sync 3 system that came out in 2016, I believe. So in the top left-hand corner, we can click to go to our homepage. It'll show our media, the phone that's connected, it'll show its service, its battery, and our compass in the top right-hand corner. Also at the top, we have our dual zone AC temperatures, 23 degrees for each, our clock, outside temperature. So we have our different tabs down here. So audio, climate, phone, so you can go to recent call lists, contacts, Siri, change device, navigation. This car is from Thailand, so navigation does not work here. Apps, so if you were to connect to Apple CarPlay, these two tabs would disappear. It would just be audio, climate, phone, Apple CarPlay, and settings. If we go to settings, we can adjust all sorts of stuff from the sound to the clock to the Bluetooth settings, phone, media player, automatic updates, Apple CarPlay preferences, vehicle. So if you go in here, we can go to camera settings, the display, so you can actually adjust. So right now it's in night mode, but I'll show you guys what it looks like in day mode. There you go. It's definitely a nice, vibrant, bright screen, but I'm sort of on the down low, so I like nighttime. So kind of sleek. Display off, you can change the background. Really isn't much of a difference. I guess that sort of reminds me of the iOS 7 iPhone wallpapers. Yeah, it's pretty intuitive. It's not as up to date as, say, like BMW's iDrive or Audi's MMI. It is lacking somewhat, but it's not too far behind, to the point where it feels like it's so outdated. Why do I have to use such an old infotainment system? So coming down here, we actually have a little storage bin right here. The Audi key is there. We have a USB port. Here we have another USB port. You can actually connect to Apple CarPlay via either of these two ports. We have a power outlet over here, as you can see. And then here we have a few of our four-wheel drive settings. So we have traction control. This is to lock the rear differential, and we have our hill descent control right there. Now, speaking of four-wheel drive controls, this right here is just, these two are just like half of it. The rest is actually controlled through this little screen right here, which I shall demonstrate soon. So right now we rock it in 2 high most of the time. If the roads are wet and we're on the highway, we'll put it into 4 high, which helps us get a little bit more traction. And of course, 4 low, you have to go into neutral for that. As you can see, that turns off the traction control and puts it in 4 low, and this thing has a very, very, very sensitive throttle in 4 low, let me tell you that. So yeah, you're in 4 low basically, but there's more to this. So if we go to mode right here, we can have our different terrain modes in the center screen right here. So right now it's in normal mode. Then we have sport mode, grass, gravel, and snow, mud and sand, and Baja, which is probably the best mode ever on any car, period, and rock crawl. Since we were on the topic of that little center screen, we might as well stay on it. So we can control it. We can control the different driving modes to this side of the steering wheel, but to control the rest of the screen, we use the right side of the steering wheel. So as you can see, we have 2 different trips. So we have trip 1, trip 2, and fuel economy, driver assist, and settings. So in either of the trips, it's basically the same. We have a digital speedo. We have our range, our trip odometer or trip computer, our trip timer, average fuel consumption, and also just most of them compiled. Trip 2, basically the same thing. In fuel economy, which just shows, you know, this sort of stuff. Fuel economy, driver assist, so you can turn on and off rear parking assist. And settings, so vehicle alarm, auto engine off, you know, chimes, lights, locks, wipers, that sort of stuff. My key, display, so you can change like the different units of measurement, so miles per gallon, liters per 100 kilometers, or kilometers per liter, temperature, language, you know, pretty intuitive. Coming back into the center stack, we have 2 cup holders, as you can see, which we don't really put cups in. This is the lock for the bed cover that's broken off, so gotta go get that fixed. And over here we have a center armrest. It is leather stitched, pretty plush. We have a little a decent size cubby, and you can also, there's a little switch here so you can twist it, and some of the air conditioning will actually come in here and you can cool off your drinks somewhat. It's not a cool box necessarily, but it'll definitely cool your drinks down a little bit. Coming up here we have a sunglass container and your dome light settings. Not settings, it's just your dome lights. There's no settings for these. They are very old school style lights. They're not LEDs or anything. Same goes for the headlights. They're not HIDs or LEDs or angel eyes or matrix lights or whatever the fancy car brands call their lights. Nope, this has halogens. Yep, we're going back in time, baby. Halogen headlamps on a 2019 car. Who'd have thought? As far as materials on the dashboard go, again, for a truck, it's definitely not as bad as you would expect. We have leather stitching here. The signature to the Raptor, we have blue stitching. I believe you get leather stitching on the dashboard of the Ranger from the Wild Trek upwards. I'm not too sure if you get it on the XLT. I have to double check on that. But from the Wild Trek upwards, you do get leather stitching. Also, a quick fun fact: the Ranger, the Raptor, has blue stitching on its dashboard, whereas the Ranger Wild Trek has orange stitching. That's sort of their key colors, I guess you could call them. So full stitching on the dashboard. The seats are super comfy. My gosh, they just look gorgeous, don't they? They're very, very comfortable seats. So soft, so comfortable. My dad's taking this on we just got back from a road trip yesterday from Gaul, and he thinks that these seats beat that thing. He thinks the seats in this car are better than an Audi Q7, which, I mean, I might agree, well, or agree to disagree, because they are super comfy. Very, very comfortable seats. They bolster you in nicely. Super comfy. One thing I will admit though, I'm guaranteed these seats are going to wear down and rip very easily, very quickly, because the truck is so high up. Getting in it, you rub your fat butts all over the seat. So yeah, that's not going to last very long. Alrighty. Turn her off. Automatic lights. You can actually control how long you want them to stay on after you get out of the vehicle. Also, the truck does do an interior scan just to make sure that there aren't any left behind children. That's actually, I'm assuming that's what this is. This looks like a little camera module in the rearview mirror. So that's pretty cool. Well guys, thank you all so much for watching my review on our brand new 2019 Ford Ranger Raptor. I'm sorry of my absence. It's been kind of hectic. I have school. I just transferred schools and it started back up, so it's crazy, super hectic. So I'm sorry if I don't upload as often. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Drive safely till then.